This is upsetting. Like, what the
After that video of a confrontation with a professor went viral, the Student Government Association stands with the student, who SGA is partnering with tonight to create change.
And a retired teacher calls an unusual place home, how she took a former drug house and made it into her safe place.
These past few days has been all that cloud cover that we've been seeing, but how much longer will that cloud cover be sticking around? Odd details coming up.
From the heart of Ball State University, live from the Unified Media Newsroom, NewsLink Indiana starts right now.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Marley Thomas.
And I'm Brittany Dobbins. Thanks for being with us. New on NewsLink Indiana, the latest on a controversy on campus that students have been talking about for days. A professor calling police on a student, and part of that all caught on video.
Yeah, Brittany, tonight a forum was held for students to discuss their thoughts on the whole situation. NewsLink Indiana's Tyler Brummett joins us live at the desk right now. Tyler, what all was discussed tonight?
Well, Marley and Brittany, there was really a lot discussed at that forum tonight, and students in that forum say they want more done following last week's confrontation between student Sultan Benson and Professor Shaheen Borna. Tonight's forum followed yesterday's walkout. The meeting just wrapped up not too long ago. It was put on by both the Student Government Association and the Black Student Association. Take a look at this footage here. Just over 100 people packed inside the Arts and Communication building, many of them voicing concerns about what they say was a situation that was poorly handled. Among the topics discussed were diversity on campus, tenured professors, and what some say is injustice coming from the university. This forum is one that SGA President Aiden Medellin says he felt was needed after he met with Benson.
I tend not to just jump on top of things. I want to know exactly what happened. So he came in, and I knew immediately after our meeting that I wanted to get a feel for how students on campus also felt about this situation.
And many students tonight told their stories, including Benson. He told the crowd they're all in this together.
We are the community, you feel me? We are the support here. We got to be here for one another, and I definitely feel like being in this room and seeing everybody here, that's what's happening.
Ball State President Jeffrey Mearns, he was invited to the forum, but he was not in attendance. But his response was discussed among those who were there. Now, as we've reported, Benson is set to meet with President Mearns Saturday. In the meantime, SGA President Medellin declined to tell me if he would support another walkout or if there would be another forum. And Marley and Britt, you know, this is a story that we've been on top of since the beginning, and I promise you we're going to continue to keep you updated as there could be more developments. We'll have you updated both on air and online.
Absolutely. He's exactly right. We are going to continue to keep you updated. You've done a great job covering it so far. Tyler Brummett live at the desk with us tonight. Now, SGA, as they are trying to handle that situation on campus, Republicans at the State House are reacting to the Indianapolis prosecutor's decision against pressing charges over possessing amounts of marijuana.
The bill was endorsed in a 6-3 Indiana Senate committee vote. It comes after the Democratic Marion County prosecutor announced his office would not pursue charges against adults for possessing even an ounce or less of marijuana. The Senate impeachment trial of President Donald Trump shifts to questioning from senators. Karen Kafer reports this period of the trial could impact how senators ultimately vote on the possibility of having witnesses and documents.
A more visible Chief Justice.
The Senate will convene.
John Roberts, now the voice of senators, as he reads their questions over a 16-hour period.
This is a question for the counsel for the president. Senator Feinstein asks the House managers. The senators ask.
House managers and the president's defense lawyers answering those questions and trying to push their cases. The defense saying there's no wrongdoing on behalf of the president and that the House managers have a weak case.
There isn't any legitimate public interest, and they've totally failed to make that case.
The Democrats doing all they can to convince at least 4 Republican senators to vote yes on witnesses, such as John Bolton, the former national security advisor.
To turn him away, to look the other way, I think is deeply at odds with being an impartial juror.
Each answer allowed approximately 5 minutes.
To the president's counsel.
And the questions coming from one or multiple senators.
On my behalf, and also joined by Senators Loeffler, Lee, Kramer, and McSally.
But after the 2-day round of questions is finished, the senators and perhaps Roberts will finally have to confront a likely difficult vote on whether to call witnesses.
Washington. Questioning is expected to last through tomorrow, setting up the debate over witnesses on Friday. We'll continue to keep you updated on the hearings.
More than 200 U.S. citizens are now in California after being evacuated from China, the epicenter of the coronavirus. The flight from Wuhan, China was chartered by the U.S. State Department. They will now be voluntarily quarantined and evaluated at the March Air Reserve Base for 72 hours. Officials with the Center of Disease Control and Prevention say at the end of the 3 days, if the patients are not showing symptoms or considered to be high risk, they can go home.
We do think that the risk for the general communities in the United States from this infection is very low.
Now, as of now, there are 5 confirmed cases in the United States.
The time is now 9:05. It's time to take a look at the weather. Jordan, what do you got for us?
Well, right now, as you can tell from being outside, you can see a lot of cloud cover out there. Not a whole lot of changes over the past few days, but we have been seeing all this cloud cover begin to plague us over these past few days. So hopefully in the near future, we'll be seeing a bit of a change. I'll have more details on that as we come back.
People got back today to work in Miami after being evacuated yesterday. A 7.7 magnitude earthquake hit the Caribbean Tuesday and was felt all the way in the southern tip of Florida. Many buildings in Miami had to be evacuated because of the earthquake that started 100 miles away. Employees inside said the building felt like a boat rocking back and forth. There were no reports of injuries.
And days after the tragic helicopter crash that killed Kobe Bryant, his daughter, and 7 others, federal investigators say it may be months before we know the cause. Investigators say they flew the end of the flight path with drones yesterday to begin mapping the wreckage. But the National Transportation Safety Board's Jennifer Hamdi says there are still a lot of questions.
We know that the helicopter was at 2,300 feet when it lost communications.
The NTSB plans to release a preliminary report in 10 days, but it won't have information on a probable cause. They say that won't be released for 12 to 18 months.
A Muncie woman makes a meth house her home. How she made a crime scene into her haven.
Plus, the city gears up for Black History Month. We'll tell you how you can celebrate locally. That's next.
Riding the bus is an easy thing to do. Last year, we carried 60,000 riders from the Ball State area. 50,000 of those were students. Anywhere you want to go, MITS will take you there.
So, I just moved in with his family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that! That's disgusting! Oh, poop already! You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
Indiana is third in the nation for meth labs, but what happens to homes like those in a community that sees the impact of abandoned meth houses? NewsLink Indiana's Annie Keister introduces us to one woman whose home has transformed her life.
The refrigerator isn't here and the stove isn't here, but my God, just think of all these things that are in here now.
Norma Rutan, a retired school teacher, now lives in a home off 10th Street. But this house was not always a home.
No, the health department had to come in and inspect everything. They took everything.
Just a few years ago, this house was a methamphetamine lab, what most would call a meth house. Once law enforcement makes a drug bust, officials deem the home a meth lab if the home reaches contamination standards. Then the home is submitted to the local health department where it's added to an official list. From there, the home is unsafe until decontamination. Decontaminated like Norma's home, the unsafe chemicals were removed to make room for things like Norma's pictures, cans, and most prized possessions.
And that wall is my husband. He's been dead now for 13 years. It's New Orleans, Hawaii, Mexico. That was the dream. But I know he would love this house. Yeah.
And a little extra room for even more than her possessions.
Oh, excuse me. Oh, my darlings. These are my great-granddaughters.
But before Norma was able to move into her beloved home, it was taken care of by Eco Rehab.
Eco Rehab's goal is really to create sustainable housing for individuals, and in doing that, that's also revitalizing our neighborhoods. Provide homes that are affordable to purchase, but also to maintain. Because the worst thing would be to build a beautiful home that looks beautiful, but then when somebody moves in, they can't afford to heat or cool it.
And just like their homes, Eco Rehab sustains their relationship with their clients.
I love the white baseboards. I love looking at them. I love the doors. Those are the little things I look at and I go, oh, I love this. I love everything about my home. I wake up every morning and look around, and I'm happy to be here.
And so the Eco Rehab can keep touching the homes and the lives in their community.
It's home. That's the feeling I got when I walked in. And even
in Muncie, Annie Keister, NewsLink, Indiana.
I love that.
Eco Rehab also rebuilt the home next door to Norma and continues to restore homes in the Muncie community.
Saturday marks the start of Black History Month, and Minnetrista is hosting a kickoff event to celebrate. The event will include a morning full of activities, history, and culture. It starts at 10 a.m. and ends at noon, and it's free to the public. For more information, go to minnetrista.net.
If you're worried about technology putting you out of a job, you're not alone. The world's most famous groundhog may lose his job to a robot.
And his biggest performance of the year is Sunday. Jordan, what kind of weather are we expecting to see?
Well, the weather for this weekend, you can expect a lot more cloud cover like we haven't seen over these past few days. The weather's been rather dreary. We've seen rather copious amounts of cloud cover and a lot of consistent temperatures from the mid-30s to lower 30s. We'll have more on that coming up.
For those who serve today and those who served before them, for those whose sacrifice will never end, the Gary Sinise Foundation shows its gratitude through entertainment, outreach, and life-changing support. We can never give enough, but we can always give a little more. Find out how you can donate at GarySiniseFoundation.org.
Sometimes there's no do-over. Some things you can't rewind. That's when an extra safety step could mean the difference between a close call and a call to 911. Simple steps save lives. Learn more at poolsafely.gov.
Action!
Of all the things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Your donations help fund job placement and training for people in your community, which means your stuff can be more powerful than you think. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Ladies and gentlemen, Punxsutawney Phil!
Take a look at this. The world's most famous groundhog could be out of a job. PETA is asking that Punxsutawney Phil be replaced by a robot groundhog. Now, if you're unfamiliar with him, he is the famous weather forecasting rodent in Pennsylvania. He predicts the start of spring on Groundhog Day. PETA says the conditions of Phil's home and the Groundhog Day is too stressful for him. According to the Groundhogs Club's website, he lives in a man-made, climate-controlled, and light-regulated zoo. Well, there you go.
I'm hoping that he doesn't see a shadow so we kind of get a little bit more winter because I haven't seen any snow.
Ah, you like snow.
Yes, I do.
Do we have any coming up, Jordan, maybe?
We have been rather light on snow. We might have a flurry or two here or there, but nothing too much as far as snow going into this end of this weekend into next week. But as of right now, we haven't seen a lot of cloud cover and temperatures in the mid to low 30s right now. Temperatures of 31 up in Fort Wayne, 34 in Shelbyville, 34 as well in Bloomington. So we have been hovering around that freezing point for quite a while right now. And right now here in Muncie, temperatures of 34 degrees. Winds to the east rather light from the east at 8 miles per hour, and a feel like temperature of 27 degrees, quite akin to what we have been experiencing over these past few days, so we're used to that by now. But take a look at the 24-hour temperature change. There's not a lot going on right here, maybe a degree or two as far as some places go, but other than that, the temperatures have been almost exact the same as far as the past 24 hours. And the big reason for that is all this cloud cover we've been having, that cloud cover acting as sort of a blanket, keeping those temperatures stagnant and not allowing those temperatures to go up or down too much. We've been experiencing a lot of cloud cover over these past few days, and we could expect some snow coming up in the next, by tomorrow morning. Some flurries here or there, but we'll be keeping an eye on that as we'll be seeing a lot more cloud cover begin to take its place into Friday evening and into the weekend. But over the next 12 hours, you can expect temperatures around 32 degrees at 2 a.m., 31 at 3, and I'll step off the screen a little bit, 30 degrees up at 9 a.m. So a steady degrees before we start to see that increase once again take place at around 9 a.m. But for night, expect overcast skies, a lot of those clouds remaining with us through this evening. Temperatures of 29 degrees with winds from the northeast at 5 miles per hour. And the same story goes pretty much for tomorrow. Temperatures of 37 degrees up in the high 30s, cloudy conditions with winds from the southwest at 5 miles per hour. And moving on finally to our mid 7-day forecast, temperatures of 41 degrees on Friday, 20% chance of precipitation, jumping the same thing on Saturday, 41 degrees, a little bit more sunshine perhaps on Saturday, temperatures of 48 on Sunday, sunny conditions, so that'd be a welcome change. And by Wednesday, we'll see mid temperatures of 35 degrees.
Wow, so yeah, hoping for a little bit of sunshine this weekend, maybe. It's been such a cloudy
Yep.
week.
And I think we'll be in luck this weekend. So.
Oh my goodness, it's been so cloudy. Well, thank you so much, Jordan. Now, the Cardinals are racking up awards and personal bests, with athletes achieving personal records, and one being recognized across the MAC. That's next.
But first, one university within the Mid-American Conference is rescheduling basketball games due to a suspected case of the coronavirus. We'll tell you where the cases may be popping up next in sports.
So if one cat has 4 kittens who reproduce every 6 months, how many cats will there be in 5 years? Who's got it? Is this... What is that? Seriously? Who threw that?
Cats are terrible at math, but they sure do multiply. Please spay, neuter, and adopt.
The solution is 10.
I'm a teacher. Let me tell you what I make. I make learning a privilege, not a chore, and frustration a tool, not an obstacle. I make working hard seem easy and giving up impossible. I make an old subject feel like a fresh thought and unconventional methods common. I'm a teacher. I make more.
Tonight's women's basketball game between Miami of Ohio and Western Michigan has been postponed. This comes after yesterday's men's basketball game at Miami against Central Michigan was also postponed due to a suspected case of the coronavirus at Miami University. The games are expected to be played at a later date. 2 students returning from the university from China showed symptoms of the disease and have since been quarantined. Neither of the Ball State basketball teams play Miami again this season. However, they could square off in the Mid-American Conference Tournament. Moving from Oxford, Ohio back to Muncie, women's Ball State track had 3 athletes set new personal bests. NewsLink Indiana's Nathaniel Smith ran to practice to get more.
As the Ball State women's track season starts up, senior sprinter Amber Jones is already breaking records. In Ball State's last meet at the Gladstein Invitational, Jones broke her previous personal record in the 200-meter dash, clocking in at 24.65 seconds and winning her heat. She talks about what setting a new PR this early in the season means to her.
Setting a new PR this early, it always is just like a confidence booster because you know that you've been working hard in training and in practice, so you know that, well, I personally know that I can give so much more.
Junior Makila Norman also set her personal record in the 200-meter dash with a time of 24.88 seconds. Makila emphasizes the potential her and her teammate Amber Jones have if they can continue to put up identical times throughout the season.
We can go really far because I feel like those numbers were not as planned.
I also spoke with freshman Charity Griffith, who set her PR in high jump at 5'3", and talked about some of her challenges transitioning from high school track and field.
Well, high school, I didn't do a lot of technique stuff. Coach didn't know much about high jump or anything. He was more of a distance coach, and he was the head coach for sprints. So, and he did the best he could. He did a lot of research himself, and he was there to help, but I didn't really know anything about technique, and little did I know, my approach was all messed up the entire time.
In Muncie, Nathaniel Smith, NewsLink, Indiana.
Their next event will be February 7th and 8th at Notre Dame for the Mio Invitational. Last night, the Blackford swimming program and high school team saw a 33-year-old record broken. Drew Caldwell swam the 200 individual medley with a time of 2:12.78, beating the old record by almost a quarter of a second. The time was also the first Bruins individual record broken since 2011. Junior gymnast Claudia Goico has been named MAC Specialist of the Week. She scored a 9.9 on her floor routine, as this score topped her career best, but during all 3 of Ball State's meets, she scored a 9.8 or better. Goico looks to continue her hot streak on floor routines, as she has scored a 9.8 on all 5 of her floor routines this season. As a team, Ball State has a record of 5-1 and are on a 5-meet win streak. The Cardinals' next matchup is set to take place at 4 o'clock on February 2nd in Denver, Colorado. Now, it's really good to see the swimming team for Blackford, that kid breaking the record like that, a 33-year-old record.
I know, that's crazy. And then all the other stories, too, are just about personal records and everything that's getting beat. Ball State is so lucky to have all of these amazing athletes here on campus. I think that's so awesome.
It seems like there's been a lot of records been broken around the area.
Now, I have to ask you, Super Bowl's coming up on Sunday. What are your plans for the Super Bowl?
Well, I don't really have a lot of plans. Probably just going to go home and watch it, have some snacks, Doritos, Pepsi, everything that's on a commercial.
Yeah, sounds really good.
I think the 49ers are going to win too.
Okay, alrighty. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Now, a 9-year-old is breaking records in something you would not expect, weightlifting.
And we'll take a look at the Super Bowl commercials you'll be seeing this Sunday. Plus, a warm-up on the way just in time.
Hey, did you know 2.4 million loving cats and dogs in shelters and rescues need our help to find a home? Let's go to theshelterpetproject.org and meet if you are in a shelter near you. Harlow, oh, she's one great listener and loves to hear all your stories. My kind of cat. Cerulo is a sweet, goofy boy who's eager to please. Sounds just like another dog I know. So go to theshelterpetproject.org, search your local shelters and rescues, and go for a cuddle with your next best friend. Adopt.
Problems. The ones nobody talks about at cocktail parties. We go looking for them. No matter the obstacles, no matter the odds, we surround a community's most critical problems, and we fight. United Way fights for the health, education, and financial stability of every person in every community. Will you?
It doesn't take a scientist to cure hunger or a fancy economist to create safe housing. It takes imagination, creativity, sweat equity. And I think of kids going to school hungry. Hunger, homelessness. In this land of plenty, seriously? Come on, we could fix this. Help out, or don't. The choice is yours.
Weeknights, NewsLink Indiana brings you the news before you go to bed.
But Friday mornings, you're waking up with Cardinal weather. We've got the latest news headlines.
Freezing temperatures have set in all the way down in Louisiana.
One man dead after flooding in Venice, Italy.
Up to the minute weather conditions.
Cold temperatures are the story this morning.
And of course, lots of fun.
Andy Keister, former cheerleader, up top right here.
I do have, I don't know if you can see a toucan this morning.
Toucan, the Fruit Loop guy.
Join us Friday mornings at 8 on Facebook Live.
Facebook is giving you a glimpse into how it tracks what you do when you're not on its site.
Yeah, that's right. Yesterday, the social media giant launched off Facebook activity tool. It will show you what Facebook has shared with businesses, like when you've opened an app or purchases you've made online. They will then use this information to target ads to you. Facebook admits they are not showing users all of the information they receive from companies. It says users can disconnect their off Facebook activity by clearing its history and turning off the future off Facebook activity.
A well-known video game company, Atari, wants to open 8 game-themed hotels. Each hotel will have a venue for esports events and a space for guests to participate in virtual and augmented reality. Parents are encouraged to host video game-themed slumber parties, and the first hotel will start construction this fall in Phoenix. And Apple revenue hit an all-time record for their company last year, reaching close to $9.2 billion this year. This was well above Wall Street's expectations. Apple believes its success was because of a demand for the new iPhone and its accessories like the Apple Watch and AirPods.
All right, Brittany, now I actually picked this for the show tonight because I think it's absolutely crazy. A 9-year-old can deadlift 230 pounds.
That is crazy.
230 pounds, that's right. Tate Fegley started lifting weights about 18 months ago. So far, he's broken 7 records in his weightlifting class, and 3 of them were all in one day.
Wow.
Tate can bench press 92 pounds, squat 190, and deadlift 230. Now, the funniest thing is he did not set out to break any of these records. It just happened because he loves sports.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Well, a dog that beat cancer will be featured in a Super Bowl ad Sunday. Scout is a golden retriever who services as the unofficial mascot for the company WeatherTech. He's also the CEO's pet, and when they needed help, they turned to the vets at the University of Wisconsin. Now Scout is not only a big success story, he will be getting a lot of fame and exposure on Super Bowl Sunday. WeatherTech CEO David McNeil says he hopes the ad has a positive impact on animals and people all over the world battling cancer.
Aww,
I know, I can't wait to see
Jordan,
it.
what do you think about that? Cute little puppy.
I feel great about that because I have a dog at home named Scout as well, so that kind of like hits a little close to home, even if the names are just related.
Now, I don't mean to throw you out there, but can you bench press as much as that little 9-year-old? Because I sure can. I can't even lift the bar.
I don't know, that's rather impressive. I'm not much of a deadlifter.
I mean, when I was 9, I was just lifting chicken nuggets, so I mean, that's so impressive.
Alrighty. Now, Jordan, let's take one last look at that weather.
Yep, our last look at the weather. Once we reach about this weekend, we can see 41 for our temperature on Saturday, 48 on Sunday. That sunshine re-emerging. And then on Monday, temperatures of 51 degrees. Keep in mind this is February, but we do see some precipitation chances make their way back into our forecast into next week.
Alrighty, Jordan, thank you. Now that's all for tonight on NewsLink Indiana. Be sure to join us again tomorrow at 9, streaming live on the NewsLink Indiana Facebook page.
And for news anytime, anywhere, go to ballstatedaily.com. Have a great night.